Okay.
Ooh, looks like I just jumped out of bed. I did just jump out of bed.
Don't turn around.
Don't turn around. My hair is pretty bad.
Don't
If
turn
Karen's
around.
at home, she's thinking, "Oh my God, that woman." We are what we are. We've had.
Actually, that looked much better since you ran your fingers through it.
No, I didn't even look at him. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Renette. Sharon Manzer's watching.
It's gonna be a nice day, but oh man, it was cold last night. When I got up this morning, it was 4 degrees
Oh my goodness.
out on my back deck. 4 degrees.
Wow.
I was like, wow,
Somebody
that's cold.
a customer called the shop at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I was sure it was spam. I didn't get out of bed to answer your phone call. I'm sorry. You're going to have to call back. 8 o'clock was just too early for me to get out of bed. I usually stay up late and I try to sleep till 8 o'clock because then I get my 8 hours, right?
Oh yeah, right.
Try not to get out.
I'm up at 6 every morning.
Really?
Yeah, it's like clockwork. Whether my alarm goes off or not, I'm up at 6.
Not me.
Yeah.
I like to stay in bed till 8.
I was up at 6, bundled up, sitting outside having my coffee at like 6:15.
Oh my soul woman.
With a big heavy coat on because it was so cold.
Oh my goodness.
But it was nice. I mean, the sun was out. It was just chilly from where it
Yeah.
hadn't warmed up yet.
Yeah. So we have 20 people on. I guess we could start. Good morning, Kim from Cape Breton.
Oh, by Susan, Wendy.
Okay, hi, Di.
Mhm.
So we are going to start.
We are. So we're going to start the sampler sew-along, and I haven't got it figured out exactly how many weeks, but I'm thinking it's going to be probably 10 to 12 weeks by the time we get this done. We're not 100% sure whether it's going to be weekly. We're going to wait and get some feedback from you guys and see how you think. Like, I wasn't
there's too
sure
much
exactly how much to give you, so we'll start with this, and then we'll get some feedback from you next week and see whether it was too much, not enough,
Good morning,
whatever.
Pat.
And we'll take it from there and break it down after we get some feedback from you
I
guys.
think you're giving them a hard week right off.
Really? I didn't think I was. Oh my word, you guys are going to be panicking. It's not that bad. You have
It's
to
not
make
hard.
2 18-inch blocks. Well, 18 and a half by 18 and a half when they finish.
Yeah,
And you have to make 8, I think they're 6-inch blocks.
that seems like a lot to me.
Really? Oh, no. So the 2 18-inch are the same that you're repeating, and the 8 are the same. So they're not, there's just 2 different patterns.
Yeah.
The 18-inch one, I'll tell you, is the biggest block in the quilt other than the center. And then we have, like, coming up, we have some 16s, and I think we even have a 14 and some 12s, and we've got some 6s and some 4s and some all kinds of different sizes.
But not today, but you will show them how to do that mathematical figuring, won't you?
We will. I just thought we're just going to get started today and get our feet wet today.
Yeah, I'm going to jump right in.
The one thing I am going to tell you is it is broken down into sort of sections. So there's 7 sections altogether. There's 2 across the top, 2 at the bottom, and sort of 3 across the center. And I'm going to refer to it as a mirror image in the fact that whatever block is in the top, what is this? My top left corner, it's going to be repeated and be in the bottom right corner. So that's what I mean by mirror image. There's 6 of the sections. There's really only 3 sections, but you do each section twice. And then one section will go up here, one will go down here, vice versa. So that's just a little bit of a clue for what you're doing. So I guess one of the things that you can decide is I purposely want to do as scrappy as possible to use out of my scraps. And yes, I'm using Lori Holt. And I think when I last counted, I think I've got like 11 different collections of her.
Really?
Yes, I think so.
The
Yeah.
nice thing about her collections, though, they all work
They
together.
all work together. They do. So if you want a more controlled scrappy look, when you do your mirror sections or when you do your double blocks, like today when you do your 2 18-inch blocks, if you wanted those to match, that would give a more controlled scrappy look. I didn't opt for that. I'm doing all different because I had a lot of different scraps that I'm trying to use up, right? Little pieces of things.
So even your smaller blocks, would you do them all the same color?
Well, that's totally up to them, whatever they want. I didn't, because like I say, I'm trying to use that on my scrap bins and use up stuff. But if you want to do a controlled scrappy, you could.
But are these little blocks butting up against each other?
Some, yes.
Okay.
So let's.
I'm asking a bunch of questions because I just
Right.
think that's what.
Okay, so this is the 18.5-inch block. Can they see that? Because I'm behind it and I
Yep.
can't see.
You can
Okay,
over this-
whoops,
yeah, right
there we go. So this is the 18.5-inch block,
And they have to make 2 of these.
and you have to make 2. So you can either do 2 totally different colorways, or you can do yours exactly the same. However you want to do. I just remembered this. Somebody messaged me last week and asked me a question about how many different fabrics, like in my most detailed block, how many different color fabrics were used. So I had told this person, and for the life of me, I can't remember who it was. So I apologize that I didn't get back to you, because that's why I didn't get back to you, because I can't remember now who it was. You know, you think you're going to remember things, but I didn't.
Tell me about it.
So I went home and looked, and that's a very hard question for me to answer, because a lot of blocks you could use 10, 15 different colors in, because it could be done very scrappy. But I'm thinking that as long as you had 5 or 6 different colors,
Look how neat that is.
it's not neat.
It is.
Isn't it you who says
Oh,
you're
yeah.
not supposed to look up a lady's skirt? Well, that's my skirt. Don't be looking.
That's so neat, though.
I'll show you.
If
I don't care.
If I look that good under my skirt, I'd flash.
Well, I don't look that good under my skirt. Anyway, that's the back, but it's not that neat. I see I've got one flip somewhere here. I saw it right there. Look,
I saw.
look. It's flip going the wrong way right down there. Anyway, so I think as long as you had like 5 or 6 colors, would be doable even in the most complicated block. I think you'd be okay. But like I said, some blocks that we're doing are very, very scrappy. And I don't know if you know what I mean, but in some samplers, there's fill-in areas. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like where they may not have like a real block per se. They may have a bunch of half square triangles, or they may have a bunch of
Not just plain
like checkerboard,
fabrics. Okay.
right? You know what I
Are
mean?
you,
Like,
are you gonna have some of those?
well, I'm just saying there might be,
Oh.
right? So if that's the case, I used all different ones in those areas.
Okay.
But you could probably do it with a more planned
You could do with it, like if it was a bunch of checkerboards, you can just do a solid background.
and do one other color if you
Yeah.
wanted, right? So you can do this sort of however you want, right? There's
And
no
we like
rules.
seeing photos of what you guys do because it inspires everybody to think outside of just what
It
she's
does.
done.
It does. And I love seeing everybody's ideas. That's the fun part,
Yeah,
right? And everybody has so much imagination and so many different thoughts going through their head. So anyway, this is the first one. So I will tell you that, so you need to make 2, okay? And they're 18.5 by 18.5. Directions will be posted on the quilt project page in a PDF. So that block is courtesy of Fort Worth Fabric Studio, and I think it's called Spring and Ambleside is what it's called.
So if you can't print this off from ours, we don't print them off and mail them, do we?
No.
No, we're
No.
not getting into that
No.
this time because it's just too
But
time consuming.
it's there, and what I've done, I've put the pictures, I've put the cutting, like if I can show you, like you have this. When you open it up, you have this to look at, like this type of a thing, right? Which shows you everything you need, right? This is your cutting for one block. This shows you your different steps.
So if you're having trouble printing it off, just open up the PDF and use your computer, your laptop
Yes.
or whatever.
Yeah,
As
it's
you-
no
as-
different than when you look at a link
on a computer.
on a computer and follow
Yes.
the link or whatever.
Yeah, it's just, we do it
So
our
the
level.
one thing about this that's a little tricky is because it's 18.5 inches, there's some bias in it.
Yes, Lynn, the background can be scrappy too.
Yes, mine's all scrappy, you'll see as I show you blocks. So we do have some bias going on here, and they're fairly big pieces. So that is one thing you're gonna have to watch, because you may get a little bit of pulling and stretching. So I just want to recap, we have a few new people. So fabric has 3 different grains. So when you buy, this is just off a bolt out of my stash, see, there's your salvages. and your fold is on this side. So there is the crossways grain, which goes across from your selvage to your fold. There's the lengthwise grain, which goes down parallel to your selvage. And then there's the bias, which runs on a 45-degree, whoops, I can't draw 45 looking in the mirror. It's like, whoa, a 45, which is your bias. So when you test fabric, or if you take a piece of fabric, your least amount of stretch in fabric is the lengthways grain. If you take it and pull this way, there's very, very little give that way. There is a little bit of give, you can see it there, when you pull crosswise. But when you do bias, there is a lot. You see that? There's a lot of give. So anytime you're working with blocks that use bias, you need to be careful that when you're sewing, you're not pulling. When you're ironing, you're not stretching it as you iron. And the bigger the blocks, the trickier it gets, the more stretch you can have there. Which makes sense, because if your block is only this big, there's only so much you can stretch it. But when your block is this big, you can really wonk that out of shape pretty easy.
So was this pattern big enough so that you could make it bigger and square it down afterwards? Do you remember?
Oh, you're really pushing it.
I'm sorry.
This morning.
It cuts exactly.
It cuts exactly.
Okay.
Ladies, I made this like 2 months ago.
Oh, sorry.
But if you were to enlarge your cutting even by half an inch, then you could trim it down and square it up or whatever. But the other thing to do is pin. If you think that you're getting into trouble or that you can't hold it, when you join this piece to these two pieces with this seam, pin both ends, and pin the center. And then let your machine pull it through. Don't be tugging and pulling on it while you're stitching.
I find, Wendy's asking about starching. Starching will shrink it.
So if you're going to starch
before you cut.
Starch before you cut, and starch everything that you're using. You can't just starch some and not others, because then when you go to wash your quilt the first time, starch will shrink. So you'll have some fabric that's already shrunk when you wash it, and some that hasn't already shrunk when you wash it. So
I prefer not to.
I know, but there's a lot of people who starch, and famous people, like what's her name? Lisa Bongine. If you guys have followed her at all, she doesn't just spray starch, she dips her fabric in liquid starch, and then hangs it to dry.
She would do the whole quilt.
She would do the whole quilt. Like, she would take all of her fabric she's using, and at the start she would do that, hang it to dry, and then iron it, and then cut from it. And if you watch any of her sewing videos, her fabric is like a piece of paper. Like, it stands, like when you hold it, it doesn't fold.
It will be interesting because she's doing our Zoom meeting at the retreat, so it's going to be interesting to hear her side and her take on everything.
So yes, starch would help that, but if you're going to start starching, you need to. And another thing, FYI, for those of us in Nova Scotia, and I don't know about other places, spray starch that you could always buy on the shelf at the grocery store is not to be found in Nova Scotia right now. Apparently, I don't know if it's something to do with COVID, I don't know, but like, I can't remember what it was called. It was in a blue can. It was always there next to the laundry stuff. Can't find it anywhere. Nowhere. So anyway, okay, so that's the first one. Spray and ambleside. If you're making a queen, you need to make 2 of these because we're going to have the 2 mirrored sections. Now, if you guys are thinking that you don't want to make a queen, again, I would wait and see, because one section, you might want to do this whole first section and just do 1, and then pick some other blocks from some of the other sections and join them together to make like a throw size. Or you may want to just do this section and then do borders to make a throw or whatever. Or you may want to wait and pick another section that we're doing, because like I said, we have 3 different sections, and we make doubles so that there's actually 6 sections when we're done, plus the center.
And 1 week we're going to figure and work on the mathematical science behind all that, so they can interchange blocks easily once we go over that.
So if I were you, I wouldn't, if you're thinking that you don't want to do the whole thing, I would, again, wait a while till you see some blocks. Don't jump right on, because you may see there's a lot of different blocks in this, a lot. So you may see something you really, really like down the road. If you have this section all made, you may see something in the second section you like better, right? So, okay, so our second block that you've got to make 8 of is free from Fat Quarter Shop did a Socialites thing last year, and they're doing another one this year, a Socialites sew along, and it was different designers, each designed a block. So this was the number 28 called the Hope block from last year, and it was designed by April Rosenthal. So in the PDF that you'll find that I'll post there later today on the quilt project page, this is what you'll see, which is the complete instructions. But this is also available free on the Fat Quarter Shop in their free pattern section.
Yeah, if it's easier to print from there.
Yeah, but anyway, so this is what it is. The one thing that's tricky, there's 3 different size blocks you can make from. You can do the 3-inch, the 6-inch, and the 9-inch. So we are doing the 6-inch. So when you're cutting, make sure you pay attention and cut from the middle row. And when you read your pattern, just so you know how they do that, in case you've never followed one, you'll see that there's 3 sets of, can you see there that
it's backwards?
It is, but I just want to show them the parentheses. So right here, do you see how there's like a set of brackets, a set of brackets, and a set of brackets? Well, the first bracket is the measurements that little block should be for the smallest block. The middle set of parentheses is for the middle size block, and the last one is your biggest block. So we're doing the 6-inch, which is in the middle. So follow the middle parentheses when you're following the pattern. So you're going to make 8 of these. 4 go in one section, and 4 are going to go in the mirror image section. So here they are, sewn together. Good idea, Wendy. Use a highlighter. Or when you're cutting, even lay a piece of paper over the two sizes you're not using, so that the only one you can see. So this is what the blocks look like, and whoever had mentioned scrappy background, you'll see I've used all different backgrounds.
Or Lori Holt uses these cute little Post-its.
Yeah, she does.
She covers up the measurements
That she's not using, that she's not cutting with those. Yeah, so
but
any
it's a good
Post-its.
use of Frixion markers too.
It is, yeah, or just a yellow highlighter to highlight the ones you're following. So you're going to sew these together in groups of 2 if you want to at this stage. But what I'm going to show you is when they get put together, this set of 2 is going this way. I got to watch what I'm doing here. I got to look at this right, so I can't look in the mirror and figure it out. Yes. Okay. This set is going, say, this way in the quilt. And this set is going to go up and down. So if it matters to you, do you see how the diamonds are facing a certain way? This doesn't look like this. See how those diamonds are going opposite? And it's because when I put it in the quilt, they're going this way, and I wanted my diamonds all going the same way.
Okay.
So if that matters to you,
scrappy enough that it wouldn't pick up, probably.
No, you could probably do it either way. But, or you can wait and sew them together after you have everything laid out on the floor and decide how you want it to look, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to sew the 2 together now. But if you do, sew 2 together for each of the 2 sections. So you'd have 4 groups of 2.
So just to be clear, I'm sorry, Joy.
Yeah.
Each one of these blocks are made exactly the same.
Like this, exactly.
Exactly. It's when you sew them into groups of 2, you're careful.
You can turn so that your half square
Yeah.
triangles are pointing in other directions, right?
Yeah.
I like the looks of these 2 matching up, and that then when this one gets joined in the quilt going this way,
These 2 will match up.
I wanted those arrows going the same way that they are in these.
Yes.
I didn't want
So
them
you don't
going.
have to worry about layout, making individual blocks.
No.
Just when you go sew them together.
Yeah, just when you go to sew them together. Okay, so that one is not a hard block at all. Your biggest challenge on this is that your half square triangles are fairly tiny. But again, it's just take your time, do an accurate seam allowance, and they'll work out fine. Okay,
They look like fish, Lynn says.
Yeah, they kind of do, don't they? Yeah. So that's basically it. So you're doing 2 18.5-inch blocks, and you're doing 8 of the 6.5-inch blocks.
Are there any questions?
And that's if you're doing the queen size. And I guess you guys have got to start deciding if you want to do like more controlled scrappy, or whether you're doing total scraps like I am, or what you're doing. But it's going to be fun to see.
So if there's no other questions, I think we answered Daisu's question when we said that we were splitting.
You
it
don't
up.
have to know where they go yet. You just know that in the quilt setting that I'm going to show you, one set of two in that section goes like this, but the other set of two in that quilt section goes up and down. So that's why I wanted, and see, I'm holding that the wrong way. There we go. So I wanted them all pointing in the same way, even though they're going in different directions in the quilt.
So Sandra
But
wants,
if you want to wait and sew them together, that's perfectly fine.
Sandra wants to know where to find the file. It's on our project page.
So Deb has 2 pages. There's the business page where you watch your Friday Night Frenzy and where she posts all the photos of the new fabric that comes in and whatnot. But there's also Quilts by the Bay quilt project page. So the video, when we're done here and it gets posted under the video section of the business page. Same place where the Friday Night Frenzy videos are. But the business page does not allow us to upload PDFs. So I have to go to the other page, which is the quilt project page. And if you look at the headings, there's a heading that says files. And when you click that, all the different sew-alongs are there, and it will be labeled. We're going to call this one the Sampler Sew-Along, and it will be called the Sampler Sew-Along Week 1. And when you open that up, there's a PDF there that you're going to be able to see. And it's got pictures of my finished blocks, it's got the directions and everything. Okay? So, I'm going to try to do that fairly soon, but if the store gets busy, sometimes it takes me a little bit to get to it. So, have patience.
Sometimes just a little slow.
Yeah, sometimes I'm just slow. Yep. Just standing here, not doing
Okay.
anything. Okay, guys. So we will be back next Wednesday, and you guys give me some feedback on whether that was too much of a week, not enough. I mean, for now, I'll have to plan what I'm doing for next week, so I'm kind of going along the same line, same amount. But if you guys start giving feedback that it's too much or not enough, then we can adjust it.
The thing is, it is saved.
It
So
is
if
safe.
it is too
So
much
if you
for you-
can't get it all done, it's not going anywhere. It'll be there. If you want to start it 6 months down the road, it'll still be there.
Oh, we got Daisu.
Oh, good. Sweet, Daisu. And yours are always so cute. Okay, we will see you next week. Have fun, ladies.
Bye-bye.